The U.S. House of Representatives Judiciary Committee has issued a subpoena demanding publication of the Mueller Report in full. So far, only a redacted version has been made available. Now, the committee chairman said that he could not accept a version that leaves most of Congress in the dark. Here's what he had to say about the release of the report by the Attorney General.
Attorney General Barr appears to have shown an unsettling willingness to undermine his own department in order to protect President Trump. However, the Mueller report outlines disturbing evidence that President Trump engaged in obstruction of justice and other misconduct. And the responsibility now falls to Congress to hold the president accountable for his actions.
Let's get more now. We're joined by our very own Helena Humphrey, who has the latest from Washington. So, Helena, we just heard that statement there from the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee. What does it mean?
I think what you just heard there, Sarah, was the opening shot in what could be a lengthy legal battle. Jerry Nadler, the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, confirming that he had issued a subpoena for the full unredacted Mueller report, as well as all of the underlying documents. The Democrats now saying, show me how you reached the conclusions that you did, how you did your working out. I think the question is what specifically they are looking for. And I think their appetite was whetted by understanding that there are 12 criminal investigations currently ongoing, which we do not know the details about. Now, the Department of Justice has until the 1st of May to reply to that subpoena, and they could well say, no, we're not going to give you access to for example, details such as these criminal investigations, so as not to compromise an active investigation, at which point I think the Democrats will have to regroup and look and see what they're trying to achieve now that the Mueller report has been delivered, albeit in redacted form, and, of course, make their game plan going forward into this 2020 election season.
So the Democrats want more information, but if we're talking about game plan, I mean, Donald Trump himself has said that this is the end of what he calls a hoax. Let's get some more on that, and then we'll get your reaction, Helena.
Game over. That's what Donald Trump tweeted after the release in redacted form of the Mueller report. He appears to think his worries are over. Arriving in Florida for the Easter break, he was characteristically bullish.
Back to work.
Trump's advisor, Kellyanne Conway, said it was case closed.
We're accepting apologies today, too, for anybody who feels the grace in offering them. There was no collusion, and there certainly was no criminal conspiracy with any Russians. That report makes very clear that this White House and this president and none of us got in their way.
But Democrats say it's far from clear that the president didn't try to obstruct the course of justice.
The idea that the report proves no obstruction is completely at odds with hundreds of pages in the report which document efforts by the president to undermine the investigation.
Democrats are demanding that an unredacted version of the report is made available to Congress, allowing them to continue the investigation.
If the special counsel, as he made clear, had found evidence exonerating the president, he would have said so. He did not. He left that issue to the Congress of the United States, and we will need to consider it.
For Trump, the Mueller report is finally behind him. But the 2020 elections are looming, and his political opponents are unlikely to be so accommodating.
So, Helena, I mean, now we have this news from the U.S. House Judiciary Committee, this statement. How is it likely to go down with Trump?
Well, clearly not very well, I think it's safe to say. If we take a look at the president's reaction, of course, on Twitter already this morning, he's been writing that much of the testimony in the Mueller report was little more than BS, using the profanity, albeit actually in full. But, you know, he said that these people who spoke to Mueller were, quote unquote, note takers. But the reality is that many of these note takers, in fact, were key political aides who seemingly walked Trump back from the brink of potentially committing a breach when it comes to the obstruction of justice. If you look at the White House counsel, for example, McGahn, who did not carry through on the request over phone 2 times, no less, for Robert Mueller to be fired. If you look, for example, at Jeff Sessions, the former Attorney General, who did not curtail the scope of the Russia investigation simply to look into future potential election interference. But I think it's safe to say that now that this document has been released and it's gone from being being a legal document to a political document, this fight is set to become far more fierce, far more bitter. If you just take a look at that quote that we heard there from Kellyanne Conway saying now, today, the president is accepting apologies.
Helena Humphrey in Washington. Thank you.